Hi, good day everyone. My name is Navin Kumaran. I'm from Polytechnic Tuanku Sultanah Bahia. My presentation topic is English language learning, a survey of preferred activities and needed motivation among Polytechnic Tuanku Sultanah Bahia students. I chose this topic for several reasons, which will be discussed further in the slides or in this video. Right. So, as we know, language learning could be fun. Right. The educators should carry the responsibility to make it fun. Uh, Besides educators, students also play an important role to make it teaching and learning interesting and fun. Students' motivation in learning also plays an important factor. So, as we can see here, it's a big question mark. What really motivate the students to learn the language, right? Is it the motivation or the preferred activities, the activities preferred by the educators? Which one? So this video will explain, or my presentation will explain more about this based on my research which was done 2 years ago, right? But okay, apart from motivation, students' preferred activities also has its role when it comes to language learning. In line with this matter, students' need and preferences in the learning process should be taken seriously. They should not generalize the teaching approach. I mean, the educators, the teachers, or the lecturers, they shouldn't generalize the approach prepared or the prepared activities, as it could be sometimes risky or meaningless. There is no point for the educators teach the students the same thing, because the level of the students could be varied. Some are quite good in the language, some are moderate, and some are weak. Right, let us move on with the next slide. Right, so there are two objectives, as I mentioned before. Why I did this research, because I put two objectives as my point here. First, to determine which two types of motivation. So according to researchers, they divided motivation into two parts: instrumental and integrative. So we just want to see which type of motivation Polytechnic Tuanku Sultanah Bahia students belongs to, or my respondents belongs to. Second objective is to find out the preferred activities uh, towards learning English language among Polytechnic students. So we just want to see what type of activity they like, they prefer most in the classroom. Right, as we can see here, the researchers mentioned here, there were several researchers carried out this research before, and according to Ackles in 2002 and Elliott, motivation defined as an internal process that activates, guides, and maintains behavior. It maintained students' behavior as well. According to Robert Gardner and Wallace Lambert, two forms of motivation. So they come up with this term whereby integrative and uh, instrumental motivation. So integrative motivation can be defined as students learn the target language, which is English, we are talking about that, to become familiar and integrate into society in which the language is used. Like they learn a new language so that they can interact, they can be part of the society. Whereby instrumental motivation can be defined as they obtain something practical or concrete from the study, meaning to say they learn the language, they understand the language just for the purpose of passing the examination, or uh, to further their studies, or maybe to expand their career. uh, this is what our Malaysian students are facing or doing now, uh, which is more to exam oriented students, who are more to or exam oriented students. According to Kashoa, Vaizi, Al Tamimi, Shoaib, Wong, and Adila in their studies, they concluded that Malaysian students mostly instrumental motivation was higher compared to integrative motivation in second language. Right. This is stated in Oxford's NICO model in 1989. So the motivation and strategies used by the learners in learning language and proficiency have strong influence in one another and play a role to lead learners to succeed in language learning. So this states that the motivation and strategies play an important role to decide or to create the drive for the learners to learn the language. To keep students motivated, for educators, as an educator, so it is crucial for us to come up with a interesting activities and to engage the students in the class. According to Kin, right? So as mentioned by Kin here, uh, he confirmed that learners' favorite activities like reading aloud, doing listening exercises, and reciting tests. So beside these activities, in my research, I come up with some other activities so that the students can make choice. Okay. As we know, educators have the control in selecting materials and classroom activities so that they can create the driving force among the learners to learn English language. Right. So we move on with the research question for this study. So I come up with two research questions. What is the type of motivation among polytechnic students, among PTSD students actually? And the second question will be what type of language activities that PTSD students prefer the most. So from the given choices, and they need to come up with their choices with, based on the options. Right. This study employs quantitative method based on questionnaire. So we just use questionnaire here. It is answered by 100 semester one students. So they are newly in the polytechnic, and we use them to answer this question. This questionnaire actually 5-point Likert scale. There were 22 main items or questions. The questionnaire divided into four parts actually. First, of course, department. They need to state which department they belongs to, and motivation in learning English. So what drives them to learn the language? Preferred learning styles. We gave them choices, and they need to choose the choice, and preferred activities. Okay, the findings of the research we divided into it is analyzed according to analyze used SPSS. The findings divided into two parts. The type of motivation of PTSD students belongs to the students' preferred language activities. Right, as I mentioned earlier, so 25 students from each department were given this questionnaire. Okay, so this is a description about the questionnaire. There are 20 questions total, 10 items for instrumental motivation and 10 items for integrative motivation. The questions are jumbled up actually from the two parts so that the students cannot, they just answer it. Okay, so before I explain that, let me go through the analysis. So what are the findings from the 10 question asked the students through for instrumental motivation part. This is descriptive analysis for instrumental motivation. As you can see here, the highlighted red color here are the most influential instrumental motive questions. Item 11, so which is the highest. I learn English because it is important for traveling overseas. Uh, we know that the target group is polytechnic students, and they have clear chance to go further their studies or to pursue their career in foreign countries, in overseas. So as we know, English is one of the most important thing they should have. So most of them answered this for this statement. The least will be I only read English material that are related to my assignments. So they just learn the language just for assignment purpose. This is for integrative motivation analysis. So as we know here, the red highlighted questions are related or most influence to the influential to the integrative motive questions. The highest here is I want to learn English as best as I can so that I can have better proficiency and understanding of the language. They really want to learn the language. They really want to know about the language so that they can use it in when they pursue their career in overseas. The least will be 3.53. Least mean is 3.53, whereby I learn English because it allows me to behave like native English speakers. For example, the accent and using English expression. uh, Very least people select this statement. They just want to learn the language and to get the proficiency level good. Okay, let us move on with the next part of the questionnaire, which is students' preferred learning style. There are four types of learning styles given for the students, and the results shows like this. The highest mean chosen by the students is I like to learn English in small groups. They prefer small groups to learn. Right, so the least is they prefer to learn individually, right? Silo method, they really do not like it to learn individually. If they learn in small groups, they can share or discuss the ideas, then maybe can brainstorm. It's easy for them, maybe. Right. And this is the third part of the questionnaire. Students preferred language activities. So I provided them with 6 types of activities: copying notes, playing games, role play and dramas, practice speaking session in the classroom, writing summaries, and just reading activities. So these are the findings. So as we can see here, the red color here is high in mean 3.96, whereby students they learn English. To learn English, I like to play games in English. So they preferred English learning games in the classroom, so that they can put more focus and concentrate in the class. It is easy for them or acceptable for them to learn the language. So I believe that educators should use this method so that the students can engage themselves in the classroom actively. The least from among these is 3.47, which is to learn English. I like to make summaries of what I have learned in the classroom. This is about making a journal, writing journals. Maybe they do not like write journal or writing part. They might feel it is difficult for them to to do writing part. Right. So let us move on to the conclusion. From from the findings, I can see that the students in PTSB are instrumentally motivated. They learn the language just to pass the paper and to get good results, right? And they prefer to learn in small groups, uh, and they prefer activities something like more towards to communicative and problem solving activities through language games in the classroom. Right. So polytechnic, as a polytechnic lecturer or maybe educators, school teachers, we play important role to make teaching and learning interesting. So besides that, polytechnic or uh, institutions, schools, they need to come up with special courses so that students can learn. Um, uh, Students will have the motivation and different types of activities so that the students can use it and learn in the classroom. As an educator, we need to ensure more enjoyable learning among students, and we need to select different types of varied types of material. We need to use different type of techniques in teaching the materials. That's all my presentation. Thank you very much for paying attention.